Trees are an essential part of the well-being of our planet. Most of the degradation of our earth, land, water and air can be repaired by trees. Trees for Earth mission is to inspire and instigate the planting of as many trees as possible on planet Earth as quickly as possible with the maximum growth rate, survival potential and simplicity of care. The aim is for people to fall in love with their trees, to feel excited and inspired by what they see around them. To develop this relationship, we need to look at the needs of trees in their development from a seedling to a mature tree. One of the factors linked to tree planting failures is the tendency to be overambitious in the planting project. It is common for people not to be able to meet the needs of their new plantings. My philosophy is to plant less but do it better, and to be generous during the preparation phase.
So many people try and do too much, can't keep up, can't look after it, and it just goes back. But if you just do whatever little area you do, and you do it the full Monty, you've got it. And you slowly, slowly expand out.
At Trees for Earth, it is understood that the key to growing trees successfully is in the preparation, planting and maintenance in the first 2 years. Inspiration springs from a successful first planting, and this provides the motivation to continue. In a natural forest environment, the forest always expands out from itself, with the young seedlings being protected by the surrounding plants. Trees for Earth is mimicking nature by providing a microclimate in which the young seedlings will thrive. We have established a procedure beginning with the soil preparation. This is critically important as most of our soils have been severely degraded from past agricultural practices. In this system, young seedlings are carefully nurtured through the first 6 months of their life. If you can plan far enough ahead, the first step is to allow the existing grasses to grow tall where you intend to plant. Mowing that paddock and leaving the mulch in place to break down will provide invaluable organic carbon. Carbon is the secret to fertility. Next is to aerate the ground to overcome compaction. Compaction is one of the biggest limiting factors for the health and growth of trees. Heavy machinery, overgrazing and even rainfall can cause compaction, which then creates an environment for anaerobic conditions. All root systems are aerobic. They love oxygen, so it is important to aerate tight, closed soils. To overcome this problem, we use a machine called Yeoman Deep Ripper, which slices through the earth and shatters the compaction layer underneath, with minimal disturbance on top. It is best to deep rip 6 months prior to planting, as this will allow deep penetration for the developing root system. The better the penetration, the greater the capacity to gather minerals and moisture, which in turn increases survival rates significantly in harsh conditions. The next step is to eliminate grasses within a metre radius of the new planting site. Trees need to have a fungal-dominated soil because they thrive in the acid byproducts created by beneficial fungi. In contrast, grasses are bacterially dominated, and these creatures release an alkaline exudate, which is counterproductive for the tree growth. The application of a herbicide will give the young seedlings an opportunity to grow without competition. The hole for the trees can be dug manually or mechanically. A mattock or a shovel may be adequate for a small planting, but a special tree auger is essential for larger tree plantings. The hole needs to be at least twice the depth of the root ball and at least 300 millimetres around. This ensures that the root systems can expand easily. Trees for Earth use a totally biological approach for planting trees. Salt-based chemical fertilisers have a very negative dehydrating effect on both sensitive new roots and the billions of beneficial organisms that surround these roots. The associated plant stress opens the door for insect attack. The biological fertilisers used by Trees for Earth feed the soil, the plants and the microorganisms, which result in a more rapid, vibrant growth. There are two inputs required during planting: tree starter and tree tonic. Tree starter is a biological root and microbe stimulant which promotes the health and vigour of the new seedlings. 300 grams of tree starter is placed in the hole prior to planting. Tree tonic is mixed with water at a ratio of 200:1. The seedlings is extracted gently from the tube, dipped into the bucket of diluted tree tonic mixture and placed in the hole. Tree tonic is a seaweed fish-based liquid which helps reduce transplanting stress. The key to the vitality associated with seaweed is that it contains over 60 minerals from the ocean, but more importantly, it features key hormones required for healthy growth. In fact, seaweed contains 40 times more of these hormones than land-based plants, which accounts for the phenomenal growth in the oceans, 30 centimetres per day. The hole is then backfilled with earth, which is firmly pressed down, avoiding the root ball itself. The seedling should be planted so that the root ball is at least 25 millimetres below the surface, leaving a slight depression or dam around the tree to help retain water. To complete the planting, the new seedling should be watered in with tree tonic, ideally with up to 3 litres per tree, or more if in a drier area. Once the tree is planted, a weed mat is placed around the seedling and the young plant is then enclosed with a protective guard. The reason for using a weed mat is to reduce the maintenance required to stop weeds from growing inside the guards, giving the tree a better chance of survival. Tree guards are extremely important in the whole system, as they are designed to nurture the seedlings in harsh conditions like frost and wind. Strong winds put a massive stress on the young, underdeveloped root system. Tree guards also give protection from nuisance animals like hares, rabbits, wallabies and bush turkeys. Why pink, you would say? Visible light can be split into spectrums of colour. Green leaves absorb light from the red fraction to drive photosynthesis. Research has demonstrated that the colour pink focuses these rays and concentrate the photosynthetic energy to enhance plant growth. These tree guards are reusable for up to 4 years, making them very cost effective and environmentally sound. The guards remain on the trees for approximately 9 to 12 months, at which stage they no longer require protection. Once the guards are in place, it is necessary to heavily mulch around each enclosed seedling. The mulch should be applied a metre around each tree at a depth of 150 millimetres or more. You can't have enough mulch. Mulch is critically important to the overall well-being and success of the growing trees. It acts as an insulating blanket for the earth and helps to retain moisture and maintains a stable surface soil temperature. Mulch feeds the soil microbe life and adds organic carbon, which is the essence for soil fertility. It also acts as a barrier against invading weeds and grasses, which in turn promote rapid root expansion. Mulch can keep grasses at bay for around 6 months. Then it is necessary to carefully spray a herbicide like glyphosate to prevent competition from grasses and weeds. The tree guards are invaluable at this point because they prevent herbicide drift from damaging the young trees. It is usually only necessary to spray beyond the mulch line, and this may be needed up to 6 times in that first year. After 12 months, the trees should be big enough to outcompete weed invaders. Trees for Earth recommend at the 12-month stage a complete carbon-based biological fertiliser be added at a rate of half a kilo per tree a metre from the tree. This encourages the roots to reach out to source this nutrient. If you are planting trees for timber, pruning is very important in order to create a straight trunk. The rule of thumb is to leave a minimum of 2/3 of the leaf matter and prune the lower 1/3. This is critical for timber density and girth, as the leaves are the engine for carbon storage. As trees have a carbon to nitrogen ratio of 500 to 1, they are the ultimate vehicles for the CO2 absorption. They can absorb massive amounts of CO2, and of course they release the oxygen that sustains us all. The Amazon rainforest is rightly called the lungs of our planet. This carbon sink feature is one of many reasons for growing trees, including timber plantations, investments, regeneration of degraded sites, food forests and protective windbreaks. Trees also have their own intrinsic value and therapeutic potential in terms of helping us to re-establish our own relationship with nature. There are variations in preparation and management according to the purpose of tree planting. In the case of forestry, regeneration and windbreaks, Trees for Earth strives to create maximum biodiversity within the species. This provides habitat for many different birds, insects and animals, increasing the overall appeal of the plant and well-being of the landscape. It is increasingly recognised that biodiversity and sustainability are interchangeable terms. This is something we all need to be aware of in our land management. Site preparation is particularly important in an orchard establishment. If possible, planting should begin at least 18 months prior to planting. The first step is testing the soil to identify any serious mineral and soil biological deficiencies. The second step involves the planting of windbreaks. This protective barrier is essential and should be planted before the food trees. Windbreaks are planted along the south, west and east sides of orchard, leaving the north side open. You may need to fence off the proposed orchard from animals. Deep rip to improve drainage and oxidisation of the soil. The last deep rip prior to planting should be as deep as possible to help subsoil drainage. A fertiliser prescription blend should be used to correct the imbalances identified in the soil test. The fertiliser should be a composted carbon-based biological fertiliser to buffer the minerals component and to introduce a vital new workforce. If the soil is poorly drained and too shallow, then mounding the trees will improve drainage and increase the depth of topsoil. Ideally, a green manure crop such as cowpeas should be planted during the initial planting phase and ploughed in at approximately 3 months prior to planting. A legume cover crop should then be established prior to the planting of the trees. White clover and pinto peanuts are well suited for this purpose. Trees for Earth has put a system together to give the maximum survival and growth rates for your trees. If you follow this system, you'll be rewarded with the success and satisfaction that will ensure an ongoing passion for tree planting. Deep ripping, stimulating, mulching and protecting will deliver healthy, happy trees, and you can justifiably feel that you have contributed to a sustainable future for the next generations to come. Trees are, after all, a beautiful solution to the problems confronting the planet.